Greetings and salutations, guys. Eric here with my review of Episode 4 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Can't say I remember, no, At Attin. This will be a full spoiler review, so here's your warning if you haven't seen that 4th episode. Alright, spoiler zone, we are in it. I am really digging this show, and this episode just kind of solidified that even more. This was a delight. This show is a delight. This show feels like pure Star Wars in a way that I don't think I've really felt since maybe the first couple seasons of The Mandalorian, which is to say there's been other good Star Wars since then. I mean, Andor is fantastic, but by its nature doesn't really feel like typical Star Wars, much more serious, the tone is so different. But Skeleton Crew is just nailing that Star Wars vibe, that classic adventure vibe. And yeah, the focus on kids, which could have gone terribly wrong, I think is just working so well. And this episode especially because we really got to see them kind of interacting even more than ever in a fun way on this planet. And I just love the nuance to their interactions. I think they're really kind of growing into their own. These kids, these characters, we're fully kind of understanding them more. And their dynamics, and I think these actors are really becoming comfortable with the roles as we go on, and yeah, just enjoyed all of that. Also, I thought it was really cool that this episode, at the beginning they think they've reached At Attin, and it's like they can't have reached At Attin, right? And it's not. It's a different planet, but the fact that it's basically a replica of At Attin, except kind of a dystopian post-apocalyptic version, was a really cool twist on it. Because I guessed last week, it's not a crazy guess, but I figured last week, okay, each episode they're going to kind of get closer to this goal of finding the At Attin. But now this is like, giving you another piece of the puzzle here. Kim did mention this last week, but it was easy to kind of overlook that she was mentioning these crown jewels of the Old Republic and that there are more hidden planets. But seeing it and seeing that it's not just any planet, that it is a replica, that this was almost like, a designed area. Like, we talk about a suburban area that's a planned community. Well, this is like a planned community of planets. They probably had the same, blueprints exactly for them because the kids said everything is laid out exactly the same. So yeah, we're just kind of getting more interesting info here on what exactly is going on. I shouldn't say info, adding to the mystery, but in a really cool way, I think, because I want to know what the hell is going on. Why were these planets replicas of each other? What was the point of it? What was the point of keeping it all secret? And we get these little kernels of things like the headless statue. Who is that statue of? It is giving me flashbacks to Lost. By the way, as someone who loves Lost, even the things they didn't answer, yes, it's making me think of the three-toed statue. But in this case, let's see if we actually get an answer on this one. And then, yeah, this focus on Neel in this episode I thought was really well done. His dynamic, this friend he made, Hannah, on this planet, and how she couldn't be more different from him. This episode was about something pretty dark, right? It's about child soldiers on this planet that, that's just, they fight alongside the adults. And these kids, our kids, the main characters, at first kind of getting swept up in the excitement of that and the training for battle, except for Neel, who always feels off about it. But then I really liked that kind of switch about when it was time, when they're being sent ahead of everyone else. They're terrified. Neel's the one who verbalizes it the most, but of course they're all going to be freaking out because this isn't a good situation for them. I just thought that they did a really nice job of intertwining all that because, yeah, we want to see these kids have this fun adventure. We don't necessarily want to see them start blasting their enemies and shooting them down. And I think this episode, the kids realize probably the same thing. And Fern, what a great scene for her, where she's kind of breaking down, crying, saying she doesn't know what she's doing. I mentioned on the first episode, I thought that was kind of the most difficult character. The character who's like the smart ass kid, the one who's given attitude the whole time. And I liked seeing her defenses crumble here. But in a way that we still understood that, she is a smart kid, and she probably is the most qualified of the four of them to be captain, as silly as it is that any of them would be captain. But she's also a kid, and I thought that was great to sort of see that side of her here. And yeah, there was just a lot of great little touches here. Of course, I should mention the director of this episode was the Daniels, the directors of Everything Everywhere All at Once. This was not the kind of quirky, bizarre tone that their movies are. It was continuing the tone of this series, which it should. But I think it was a really well done episode. It showed that they worked great with these kids. I thought they brought the best out of them so far of any of the directors. Not that the other directors did poorly with them, but yeah, I thought this one, they really, it just the interplay between them, I was buying into it more than ever. And of course, this is where we're starting to see the turn with Jude Law's character, Jode, I guess is the name we're settling on, even though he has so many names. Because he certainly seems to have some genuine affection for them. It was very sweet when he, basically buys back their freedom, and Neel and Wim both grab him and hug him. Sort of seeing that softer side. I don't want them to take the edge away from him completely immediately, and I'm figuring as we go on, we're still going to see those questions of might he betray them, might he not. But for now, I thought that this was a really nice episode for him as far as this dynamic with the kids and how that's evolving. And then it all culminates in this revelation that the coordinates to At Attin were destroyed at the order of the original captain of their ship. And we don't know why he would do that. And then, of course, it turns out that he not only did that, but he killed his crew, anyone who knew the coordinates, and then ordered SM-33 to kill anyone who came asking about that. That was a fun moment there. I say fun, but it was a fun kind of dark, creepy moment when, SM-33, this, comedic, lovable part of the show, went kind of T-800 on them and was coming at these kids to kill them. And a nice little moment there with both Neel standing up to him to help his friends and kind of finding his courage, and then Jode as well running in and turning him off. It's really bringing this group of characters together in a really nice way. Well, I guess except for SM-33, who just tried to kill them. But the rest of them, they're bonding more than ever. Just really enjoyed this episode. It might be my favorite so far. And I know that this one, is probably the most maybe case of the week as far as, we're going to travel to this planet, get some new information, move on. But I thought that it wasn't just getting some information. The planet itself was a very fascinating part of the mystery, and the character interplay was so well done. Just really enjoying this show. Oh, and I jotted down the quote because I have to say it right. I laughed so hard at when Wim first met Hana and her kind of her fellow soldiers, and he asked, "Are you an army of kids battling adults for control of the planet?" Maybe Wim on his planet has been reading or watching some inner Star Wars sci-fi. Whatever the fiction is within Star Wars, or certainly on At Attin, where things have gone down their own path. Maybe they have their own dystopian fiction, but I thought that line was great. Oh, and I should mention also that Jode found a little piece of machinery that had, once again, the holiday special circus. They keep returning to that. I'm not complaining about it. I love that they keep bringing back the holiday special circus. I endorse it completely. Maybe they should just present the entire thing. I know they shot a little bit for the show, but in my dream they shot the whole thing, and it can be a special feature on Disney Plus. But they probably didn't do the expense for that. I would have. All right, those are my thoughts on episode 4 of Star Wars Skeleton Crew. What are you guys thinking of it so far? Let me know in the comments. If you could like, if you can subscribe, that'd be excellent. Take care. Oh, 2 more cute moments I wanted to mention. Neel being pulled along by the trunk was very funny, but also KB being so awkward when Wim tried to give her a high five, and her uncertainty about how exactly she should respond. Just good stuff. I like those kids.